All right, welcome to BSN for Pro Live, everyone. Welcome to another webcast. This is where I get an opportunity to talk to people on social media, out in the world, entrepreneurs, you name it, people that are actually going out there and pushing themselves to be their best, do their best, and share information. This is opportunity for myself also to grow because I love connecting with entrepreneurs, people that are going through challenges and persevering and overcoming these hurdles in life that take them to the next step, take them to the next level. So let me introduce you to one of my good friends of mine. He's the author of Alpha Heroes. This guy is an amazing guy. His name is Jeff Glass. I've heard him speak. He's part of Apex. That's a mastermind group that we're part of. I really, one day he had a message on there and it really just stuck to me. And if you follow him on social media, you got to follow him on Facebook or connect with them. I'll tell you right now, he's just a great communicator and just a great person overall. So Jeff, thank you for joining me, my friend. I appreciate you for joining us. Before we started, we were talking about what we want to talk about. We're talking about our story. So let's get into it, my friend. Let's talk about your book. It's Alpha Heroes. You sent me a copy for my daughter. She loves this book. It's like on the kitchen table. It's there. She loves it's beautiful graphics. How first, before we get into your story, how did you become an artist? Like, what was the inspiration to do something like this?
Can you see me here? Thanks, Ben.
There you go. You're there.
Yeah, I'm here now. There's a lot of artists that went into that. So there's about a 12-person team that went into creating Alpha Heroes. I'm the writer. I've been a creative writer since I was young. So I sketch out some of the writings, but I've created the characters. All the characters are my creation, but there's other people that are really what I call the Jack Kirbys. If you don't know who Jack Kirby is, he's the talented. He's not the Stan Lee. He's the guy behind Stan Lee that you wouldn't hear a lot, that did a lot of the sketches and the drawings. So I have a good support team of Stan Lee's, but I'm more the writer, the director of it, and did the storylines. But yeah, thanks for asking. It was a team effort. It's amazing how much goes into a children's book or a comic book. It was a big project, but we have about 12 more rolling out here over time. So that's just
Yeah,
the beginning of the series.
that's awesome. So tell me, let's talk about your business. Tell us what you do? Tell everyone what you do. Like, what's your main?
Sure. I've been in marketing or consulting in some form for about 15 years, 16 years now. And I used to flip businesses. And I got into marketing because basically I wasn't a huge fan of just the way that I would see digital marketers, right? Can you hear me now still, Ben?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, great. I lost your screen for a second. I can see me,
I
but I
got you.
can't
I'm
see
just
you.
focused on you. Yep.
Okay, great. So basically, I was working at a bed and breakfast. I stepped in to help them as a consultant and invested in the business. And they had like two Facebook companies. They were helping them with marketing. They had two SEOs and web designers. It was just a mess. It was like somebody dropped a bunch of carports off at their place, but didn't really tell them how to bring everything together. So over time, I started to develop a hub of different web designers and ads managers, and really brought it in where I'm not subbing out, but really kind of the control mechanisms, if you will, the main hub that people can come to and get everything that they need for their marketing, their branding. We do publicist work, help people get published on a book, help them get their press releases out in media, major media, and really, it's been a process. And you and I were talking a little about the season of C19, right? If I can freely speak about that, I'm kind of an unfiltered guy, so hope you don't mind here on this. But there was, kind of some challenges that happened back in 2019, 2020, when I had some big life changes for myself. I was teaching entrepreneurship, and then this perceived pandemic came in, and that's when things really shifted. And I focused a lot on building out my agency and Alpha Media Group at the time, now Alpha Media Global, and we can get into that a little bit later.
Sure.
It hit this transition and really focused a lot on blue collar type businesses. We work with some white collar companies, but we really grew immensely during the C19 period, which was about whatever it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
And now I was in Nevada where you are. I was north of you. people think Las Vegas and Nevada are the same thing. I said, no, I was about as close to Las Vegas as I was in Los Angeles. I was up near South Lake Tahoe,
Yeah.
so it's actually a few minutes closer to LA than it is to Las Vegas, where I was living
It's
in Nevada.
totally different community. Like Las Vegas is not the
Absolutely.
same as Reno or Tahoe.
No, and we were
Different
ways
people. They're totally different people.
yeah, and we were ways from Reno too. I mean, Reno would be the next major, like, I guess, kind of jokingly, I would say civilization, because I've mainly grown up in big cities. But I was out in Smith Valley, Nevada. If you look it up, there's nothing there. It's like one store. I don't even think we had a stoplight in the whole town. I mean, it was beautiful, but it was definitely desolate, even too desolate for me. And I'm somebody who likes to be out on property and away from the big city when I'm living and writing and working. But yeah, there was a big shift during that time, and I think you and I have talked about, because I've seen your story and I was inspired by things that you share. But I try to draw appreciation out of everything. I've never been divorced. I've been married now for 14 years, but I hear what people have gone through, and they try to draw the positives out of something, like they went through divorce or they've been fired from a job, and they try to, immediately there's that pain, there's that sting, but then they work on drawing out, what can I learn from that? How did that build my character as a person? Has it developed me? Has it helped me understand, be more empathetic towards people? Has it helped me maybe make better decisions moving forward? Like, I need to choose a better spouse, or I need to choose a better employer or dynamic for my family. So I think one topic that you and I've really hit on, just messaging each other back and forth, is encouragement, strengthening. I messaged you. I was like, man, I'm really proud of you coming out and taking a stand like you did.
I appreciate that so much. You guys, I mean, we're gonna top it a little bit more, but during certain challenges, a lot of us made decisions, right? We lost our job. I lost my job, and I made a decision to really recreate myself during that time. And Jeff, I want to say thank you, Jeff, personally, just for being someone that's inspired. We had a phone call. You were out there messaging me, and you're one of the people that were really positive. And it's so true. You'll remember the people that were in your life. That just it's not about like what I'm trying to find the word. Is you weren't even it's not, you weren't asking for anything. All you were doing is giving. You're like a giver, right? You're just giving like positive energy, communication, a message here, a message there. Hey, Ben. And really that's the kind of, those are the days and during that time, a lot of us have tough times. And there's a message like that really said, okay, I need to get back on track. So thank you again. I appreciate you for that.
Absolutely. Well, I see that strength, and I think sometimes, especially when we're leaders, you are, I call it martial arts. You're in your martial arts, you're leading your family, you're a husband, you're a dad. And, sometimes leaders don't hear that. You hear cricket sometimes, because you're the one that has to lead and be strong and hold strong all the time. And that doesn't stop. You can't put that down. If you lose your job, you can't stop providing or figuring out a way for your family. You can't hand that responsibility off to somebody else. You're still a man. You're still responsible for it. So I have a heart for encouraging men, leaders. When I was more involved with churches, I was about encouraging pastors. Found that they were some of the loneliest, depressed folks I'd ever met, a lot of them, because they were pouring out so much, but didn't have a lot of people pouring into them. And I know that's kind of just, typecasting them, but it wasn't all of them. But it was more than I'd seen. And it opened my mind and my heart to, like, man, when people are going through something, I wouldn't call it down, but when they're just going through something, just having those few words of encouragement. So if I could be that voice. But, one thing, we were talking about too, is true colors come out when all chips are down. When somebody loses a deal, loses a relationship, loses their job, deals with a pandemic, you see a lot of true colors come out in people. And I went through some challenges to it, and that myself, of right around the time my book came out, which was, I thought a wonderful thing. A lot of people received it. We became bestseller, very quickly in the comic niche, and it was really to be celebrated. But I realized that people around you, you really learn who your friends are, who's behind you, who's supporting you, and who's not. And I have seen, and I don't know if you've seen this too, Ben, I know some of our viewers may have, but is that when you are actually trying to do things good, we're not perfect, we make mistakes, but to me, there has been more pushback when I'm trying to put some good out in the world lately than when I'm trying to maybe just be neutral or passive, or maybe, when I was even younger making more mistakes. It seems like even then I was more accepted. But as I got older and really started walking in my design of what I feel God has designed me to do, like, hey, you're designed to be a writer, you're a CEO, you're meant to lead an agency, you're meant to help people in their businesses and help them get those W's and succeed, is that my relationships transitioned out of the neutral zone, right? Where a lot of people were here, it went like this. It was like some of the relationships got stronger and the other ones just went away. So I don't know if you've experienced that. I'd love to hear your comment on that, but that was
Yeah.
a big transition I went through. Is that is people's true colors came out. Doesn't mean I'm perfect, doesn't mean I'm their judge, but
No, no.
who was in my team supporting me. And I heard something the other day, and people say don't say, hey man, it's hard to find a good friend. Be a good friend. Before I got married, some of the best advice I ever received was, don't look for the right woman, build the right man. So a lot of these things is about checking us too. We're not exempt from that. We need to check ourselves and hold ourselves accountable. But I noticed the people that were closest to me, a lot of them, not all of them, were just gone. But
Sure.
strangers stepped in, and like strangers were my biggest supporters. And it was something that I had never um, I'd never like really, you know, experienced before. I
Sure.
never experienced that to that degree. So I'd love to hear your
I,
comments on
I,
that.
I see what's, and this is kind of how I raise my kids. Is this is my, and now that it's great about having these conversations because you start to have epiphanies. You start to see the dots, right? And what happens is I tell my girls, the world's changing. The world's changing in a way where there's going to be lions and sheep, right? There's these lions that are coming out, and other lions like to be with other lions. And we already know how the sheep are just out there following. They're out doing their thing. And then when we see another person trying to become a lion, and maybe this is what's happened to me is when you see someone going, you know what, F everyone else. I'm not gonna be like them. I'm gonna do something different. I'm gonna push myself. Then the other lines say, hey, that guy, it's like that energy, like that person right there, that person is trying to do something. I'm gonna give that person encouragement. I'm gonna go out there and push that person. And I'm not gonna give, and no one's giving us money or things. It's just a matter of, hey, keep going. You can do this. You got this. It's a matter of like, and it's those little pushes, those words, because we know that the words are very, very powerful, or the energy or our presence in someone's life. Because I've done it too. I've done it for people where I'm not going to give someone anything, but I'm learning that. Like I've just learned that. Like it's a matter of, hey man, you're doing a good job, man. Keep going. Awesome. Thank you. And then like a year from now, they're doing something special. They're doing something great. And it's like this energy that we're pushing on people. And I do believe that there's this also this energy of or and I'm a spiritual person. I do believe that the devil doesn't necessarily tempt people, but there's things that are happening that the devil will try to bring you back. So the people around you, like they'll try to pull you down. They'll try to say something negative. They'll try to throw you off your curve. Maybe they'll do something deceiving towards you, and we have to make a choice. Either A, do we play their games, or do we try to move forward, or do we become the better? Because becoming the better person isn't necessarily hanging out with that person trying to make that person better. We're not Jesus. I'm not Jesus. I can present myself in a strong way, but we can forgive, but we can't forget. But we need to keep going. Keep going in a different route, found our own path, and not follow their path. Those are kind of like my thoughts behind that. But I understand what that make when you say that.
Yeah, and that's where we're going to deal with it in all fronts. We're going to deal with it as we rise up, as we try to extend ourselves to the next level. Like you said, and it reminds me of that cliched phrase, right? Another level, another devil. You're going to deal with, challenges and people. And a lot of challenges are attached to people, but it's really attached to yourself. How are you going to manage your way through that? And I'm somebody that used to have, I would say, more of a quick temper with things. And when, my company that I run right now split, a few months ago, and I went independent, and still same business, and but I went independent as Alpha Media Global, and people wanted certain things, and there was not that giving spirit. Those people had to go. When there wasn't that care for the customer, and we're here to serve as servants and take care of people, but of course still have boundaries. We're not here to martyr ourselves. We're
Sure.
here to provide some value and continued value. And it reminds me of that story. And I tested my team, and I'm going to mess up the story, but it's from the Old Testament, with Solomon. And Solomon had the two women that were claiming that they were the mother of the baby. I don't know if you remember this story.
I remember.
And Solomon gives them a choice, and basically he says, "Hey, well, what I'll do is I'll cut it in half and we'll divide it." Well, the woman that basically, to summarize it up, kind of chopping it up here as far as the how the story itself goes, but the woman basically that showed like, "Hey, I'm going to jump on to protect this baby. I'm going to," and the other one was like, "Well, that's fair." Solomon was testing to kind of see the spirit of people. What were they about? And horrific story, but as a metaphor, it's very, there's a lot of wisdom to it, because I went through the same thing with my business. Is that there were the people that wanted to just divide it up, and who cares, let's just chop it up and be done. But those that jumped on to protect it and protect the brand and the value, they're still here,
Hmm.
and I'm one of them. It doesn't mean I'm perfect. It doesn't mean those people are perfect, but there's a heart and a passion that you have to check in your agency. That's we got to check what our brand is. What are people putting out there? What do they value? Our brand comes from our value system. What do we value? And our value is that we have a responsibility to the folks that we're serving. We are an example to other people that are watching us, and to just split and walk away and divide up an asset, it wasn't time for that. And when we did that shift, then we grew 30%. We just continued to grow. I mean, I'm talking some of the quickest growth, but not just growth for infusion, but really solid growth. Really seeing.
Oh, we lost your voice. I lost your voice.
Our internal. As much as I've been doing this for 15, 16 years, as much as I've been a business owner for a very long time, 25 years I've been an entrepreneur, I've never been so excited in my life. I feel like I'm starting all over again. I feel I'm 43, but I feel 25, man. I have so much energy, so much love for what I do, so much more like I want to grow. Like, I'm in an industry where you never arrive. You never, there is no like, hey, I get this and it's perfect. You got to keep going. You got to keep learning, And as I roll out Sigma SEO Web 3.0, which I've been working on for 3 years now, reveal everything about it yet, because you don't want to show
Sure.
all your cards.
Sure.
But we've developed what I feel is going to be a pioneer shift, a game changer in the entire industry globally.
Jeff, and this is a question for me, and maybe other people would. So there's many of us out there that during C19 we were tested, and there's
Mhm.
things that happen, right? We went through all these hurdles, we went through the fire, and I'm starting to see people out there now. There's new chapters. There's a new chapter in a lot of people, new seasons that are happening in people's lives, right? And you say you're excited, right? But many of us, like us, like, and I'm gonna be vulnerable here. I'm a little bit like anxious, like or nervous, anxiety, because I have a new chapter starting in my life, and now I'm
Mhm.
like, how do you said you're excited? How can I change my mindset from being like, am I nervous? Am I going to be able to succeed? This is a new chapter. I can't believe I'm going into this whole new thing. But how do I am able to like change my mindset and going, okay, right, okay, I'm ready for this. I'm excited. I am excited. But there's that, and I think everyone has nerves. But maybe there's something that you can say, hey, man, like you got this.
We are, I'm not a preacher, and I'm not trying to say positive to just say positive, but I can tell you, I feel such a spirit of abundance in our country, in our world. I think we're moving into such a time, and this is the 30,000 foot view. We are moving into such a time that we have never seen before. There will be more millionaires, billionaires, but not just fulfillment through money, but also people really walking in their purpose. I believe that the freelancers, entrepreneurs, independent contractors will be more of the majority than employees. Nothing wrong with being an employee, but that's been the dynamic, and that's been a lot of what our society has tried to manipulate and control people, and people not walking in their design. So I think we're going to see a lot of people walking in their design, and some people, their goal is to give everything away or to volunteer. But I think what we've seen and what happened here is disruption. And disruption is exciting in the sense that when something is disrupted, like a piece of land being tilled, you're talking about your contractor friend, Matt, earlier. And one of the first things you need to do is you need to understand the land, what's capable, what it can do, the asset, is the land able to, can you get water? I mean, there's a lot of variables that go into it. But when you till that land, you basically have set it up to be more fruitful. And with C19, our land was tilled, it was changed, and we're moving with currency from a decentralized system or a centralized system to a decentralized system. The same is happening with the internet. We're moving from a centralized system, like a Big Brother type system, to a decentralized system with Web 3.0. Well, when things like this are happening, there's so many shifts that are happening, take your pick. There is abundance. There are things to do. There is value to bring everywhere. And so disruption equals opportunity. You couple that with action, some good strategy and game plan, a good network, and it's amazing what you can do. And so I think two things. One, if people can really understand that we are in a series of we're stepping into a season of abundance. I firmly believe that, and I think there's a lot of evidence of that, but it's hard to look through the challenges. But if you really look at it, it's kind of like when a couple is arguing. It's so easy to fixate on the fight. We had an argument, he yelled or she yelled. People's minds fixate on that stuff, just like the Johnny Depp trial, right? I imagine those two folks at some point had some really good times, but you don't hear about that as much because our mind, when it's fear-based, our limbic brain is like, okay, I need to remember this pain so I don't repeat it. So pain is valuable because it teaches us something. Fear is like writing a book. It's imagination. It's just a form of, it's negative imagination. So I think if we look back at C19, a lot of things that happened, how much of it was truly danger, how much it was conjecture, story, and just our own imagination. So if we can use that same imagination for the positive and create things and make things, it's amazing what our world is going to turn into. But we are in the middle of a reset. The question is it a centralized reset or a decentralized reset? But the reset is here. But I think we are ambassadors of it. When we make choices and we do good things and we build things, I think we're going to see tremendous fruit in our lives. But put the focus on, my business is to help other people win. In turn, Alpha Media Global, AMG wins because, I look at my clients as like wheels on a vehicle. If that wheel is not got the right tread, the right PSI, if it doesn't have that, then and one wheel pops on my vehicle, then my vehicle doesn't work. Not in the sense tires that they're under me, but the sense that this vehicle does not move without great clients and great systems. So
all right. Well, thank you, Jeff. I appreciate your time, my friend. Looks like we lost you, so I'll get back to you. Thank you, everyone, for watching BSN for Pros Live. Make sure in the comments below you put hashtag BSN for Pros or go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And thank you again, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.